And big news right now, clarification from MHA or the Ministry of Home Affairs has come in on Rohingyas. No EWS flats will be given to Rohingyas. Remember, the government had earlier said that Rohingyas will be rehabilitated in flats, EWS flats. However, the Delhi government, the Aam Aadmi government had raised questions on this rehabilitation, the flats with security being given to the Rohingyas. A clarification now from the Ministry of Home Affairs has come in. No EWS flats will be given to Rohingyas. That's the latest that we are getting on this entire matter that had a lot of speculations going on. Rohingya refugees will be shifted to EWS flats in New Delhi. That's what earlier the government had said. My colleague Aditi gets us more details. Aditi, this clarification has come just now after a lot of tiff between the centre and the state. What's the latest and why this change? Was it a misinterpretation of what the government had said earlier?
Well, to start off with, the state government, in fact, the Delhi government had earlier conveyed to the Ministry of Home Affairs and the central government that the kind of camps, the refugee camps in which these Rohingyas have been residing in the national capital, the Delhi government has been footing their bills to take care of these refugees. They had reached out to the central government in anticipation to see what really is the central government's plan vis-a-vis these refugees. There was a meeting that took place between the Delhi Chief Secretary, officials from the Urban Development Ministry and the Ministry of Home Affairs, where certain decisions were taken. What went wrong with the tweet that was put out by Urban Development Minister Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri, that still remains to be a huge suspense. But for now, the Ministry of Home Affairs has clarified that there is no plan to shift the Rohingya refugees to the EWS flats in the national capital. But interestingly, they have also now put the onus on the Delhi government to now find out detention centers in which these Rohingyas could be resettled, and thereafter the deportation process for the Rohingyas who continue to stay in those shelter houses or camps in the national capital. The MHA says that they are already working on it. Remember that last year as well, a question was asked, multiple questions on Rohingya crisis were asked on the floor of the House in the Parliament, and on multiple occasions, both the Ministry of Home Affairs and Defence Ministry had made it very clear that the Indian government, the central government, has no plans on giving any space whatsoever to these who they called were illegal refugees. They were never invited in India. They came forcefully, and the process of sending them back to their respective countries was already underway. It's also very interesting that the entire confusion also erupted when Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri earlier today decided to tweet and also mention the location, the Bakkarwala area, where these Rohingyas were to be rehabilitated. The Delhi government shot back. In fact, several of the VHP representatives, the RSS representatives also hit back at the central government. So now the central government has clarified that there are no such plans of rehabilitating the Rohingya refugees to EWS flats. However, they have now put the onus on the Delhi government to find suitable detention center for all these refugees.
Absolutely. In fact, the tweet that you are mentioning, they also said that Rohingyas will be provided with the, basic amenities, UNHRC, IDs and round-the-clock Delhi police protection. A lot was promised, and like you're rightly saying, a specific area of Bakkarwal in Delhi was also mentioned earlier. What happened suddenly? Is this because of what the Aam Aadmi Party protested against, this entire matter that was put out on the tweet? And now that you're saying that the matter has come, the onus now lies with the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi to make, make some arrangements for the Rohingyas. What happens next? Where do these Rohingyas go, and who will actually be responsible, the central government or the Delhi government?
Well, Palak, it is very clear that this has not happened due to the pressure from the Delhi government. This has happened because of the backlash that the central government was facing since morning, since earlier today, since Hardeep Singh Puri had put out that tweet. It was not primarily that this decision has been, or this clarification has come because there was a certain stand that was taken by the Aam Aadmi Party or the Delhi government per se, but it was the overall backlash that the central government was facing, because of which the Ministry of Home Affairs today has decided to clarify. But why did Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri in the first place put out the tweet with the entire entire clarification of what all are going to be the luxuries or amenities that are going to be provided to the Rohingya refugees, how certain flats have already been decided upon, a certain area has already been enlisted where these Rohingya refugees will be rehabilitated. That we will get to know through the course of the day. But the MHA now clarifying and putting the entire onus on the Delhi government, that we have now requested the Delhi government to come back to us to give us the locations of the detention centers, to start building a detention center for the Rohingya refugees. Thereafter, the central government also clarifying that the process of deportation of the illegal foreigners in India is something that the central government is already working on.
Absolutely, Aditi. Thanks for getting us those details. The government is now taking back its words. Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri had said earlier that Rohingya refugee camps will now be moved to flats, which is not happening anymore. Clarification from MHA.